In Chicago, a respected doctor, Richard Kimble, is wrongly accused of murdering his wife. Sentenced to death, he escapes during a prison transfer. Now a fugitive, he's hunted by a U.S. Marshal while trying to clear his name and find the real killer. With time running out, can he prove his innocence before it's too late? Chapter 1. The Last Time. On the night Dr. Richard Kimble lost everything, he went to a big dinner party at the Chicago Hilton Hotel. His friends from the Chicago Memorial Hospital were there, and a lot of other people drinking and talking. Charlie Nichols, the most important doctor of the hospital, came across to him with another man. "Richard," he said, "I want you to meet Dr. Alex Lentz. Alex is working on the new drug, RDU-90. You know, he's doing all those tests for Devlin McGregor." "Alex, this is Richard Kimble." "Hello," Kimble said. But he was thinking, "I've seen 3 damaged livers this week. They were all from dead people, and all of them took RDU-90. But in his report, Lentz says the livers are all healthy. That's very strange." "Charlie says, you want to talk to me sometime, Dr. Kimble," Lentz said. "What?" "Oh yes," Kimble said. "Tomorrow morning, about your reports on those 3 livers. Will that be okay? Right? Tomorrow morning." Lentz smiled, but his eyes were hard and cold. Kimble turned and saw his wife, Helen. He went over to her. "You're looking very beautiful tonight," he said. "I love you. Look, you know I don't like these parties. Why don't we go home?" "And I love you too," Helen said, laughing. "But we must stay, dear. This dinner party is to get money for your hospital. Remember?" The Kimbles stayed at the hotel for another 2 hours, then drove home. Just before they arrived at their house, the car phone rang. Kimble answered. Then he said to Helen, "I have to go back to the hospital. Somebody's very ill." "Go on then, dear. Be quick," she said. At the hospital, Kimble saw another patient on RDU-90. "I must operate quickly," Kimble told the man's doctor. During the operation, he saw that this man had a damaged liver too. "What's this RDU-90 doing to people?" Kimble thought. The operation was quick and easy, and the man was soon sleeping comfortably in a hospital bed. Kimble drove home and phoned Helen from the car on his way. She was in the living room with a book. After the phone call, she closed her book and went up to the bedroom. At the top of the stairs, she stopped. Somebody was there in the bedroom. She walked slowly into the room and looked round. It was very quiet. "I'm being stupid," she thought, and opened a cupboard to get her nightclothes. A big hand came out of the dark and hit her hard in the face. She fell back on the bed. There was a man in the room, very big, dressed in black. She got to the phone. It was in her hand. The man shot her in the leg. She screamed. She tried to speak into the phone. Then the man fired again, straight at her head, and everything started to go black. She couldn't see. She couldn't speak. Chapter 2. A One-Armed Man. When Kimble arrived home, he looked for Helen in the living room. Then he went up to the bedroom. "Helen?" he called. "Helen?" She didn't answer, but the light in the bedroom was on. Then Kimble saw the man and he ran in. He hit the man hard and his gun fell on the floor. The man tried to get the gun, but Kimble held on to his arm. It felt cold and hard. He pulled the man's arm and it came off. An artificial arm. The man looked at Kimble. Dark eyes, dark hair. The man hit him hard and Kimble fell to the floor. The man took the artificial arm and ran out. After a few minutes, Kimble moved a little and opened his eyes. Helen was talking into the phone. "Richard, he's trying to kill me," she was saying. Kimble went to her. Her voice went very quiet. Her head fell back on the bed. There was blood everywhere. "Oh, Helen, Helen," Richard said and touched her face. "Richard, hold me. Hold." Her voice died away. The phone fell from her hand. On the phone, somebody said, "Hello." "His name is Richard, you said." "Richard? Hello. Hello." Helen was dead. Richard knew it. He sat next to her body on the bed and started to cry. Later the police came. There were men and noise everywhere. They took him to the police station. The police put Kimble in prison and asked him lots of questions day after day. At his trial some months later, they said, "Kimble killed his wife. We can't find the man with the artificial arm." Kimble had the same gun that killed his wife, and she said on the phone, "I didn't kill my wife," Kimble shouted, but nobody listened to him. After several weeks, the trial ended. They sent Kimble back to prison. "You killed your wife and you're going to die for it," they said. Chapter 3. Escape. Kimble was in a bus on the way to Menard Prison in Illinois, the place that they sent all the most dangerous criminals. There were 2 guards from the prison and another prisoner called Copeland in the bus. "I'm going to die soon," Kimble thought. "But I didn't kill Helen." He thought about the man with one arm. "Hey, I'm hungry," Copeland shouted. "It's time to eat. You've got to give us food, and you know it." "Quiet, Copeland," said one of the guards, a young man, but he got some food and came into the back of the bus. Suddenly, Kimble saw a knife in Copeland's hand. "Look out," he shouted, but Copeland moved fast, and the knife went into the young guard's side. He fell to the floor and Copeland took his gun, but the bus was going fast, and Copeland fired the gun accidentally. The bullet hit the bus driver, and he fell dead. The bus went from side to side on the road, and Kimble and Copeland fell down on the floor. Copeland dropped the gun, and it went across the floor of the bus into a corner. "Hey, what's going on?" The other guard, an older man, shouted and came into the back of the bus. Copeland went for the gun, but the policeman shot him dead. With a noise of breaking glass and metal, the bus finally crashed onto its side and stopped. After a minute, the older guard moved over to his friend. Then he turned to Kimble. "You're a doctor," he said to Kimble. "Help him, he's hurt badly." Kimble looked at the man and said, "We must take him to a hospital fast." Kimble took the shirt off Copeland and pushed it hard on the big cut on the young man's side. "This'll help," he said. Kimble heard a noise outside, and the bus started to shake. "Where are we?" he asked. The noise grew louder, and the bus was shaking harder. The guard looked out of the window into the night. "Oh no," he shouted. Kimble looked too. They were on a railway line, and the light of a train was coming very fast towards them. The bus started to shake harder and harder as the train came nearer. Kimble ran to the back doors of the bus. He shouted, "Give me your keys. Quick." He thought, "But do I want to live?" Then he saw the face of the man with one arm, and he thought, "Yes, I do want to live. I want to find that man." The noise of the train came nearer and nearer. The guard threw his keys to Kimble. "But which one?" Kimble shouted. "This one." "Tell me." "Yes, yes. Quick." Now, the light from the train was shining into the bus, and the noise seemed to be all round them. Kimble opened the door, and the older guard suddenly pushed past him and jumped out. "Help me," Kimble shouted. "Help me with your friend." The train was almost on top of them, as big as a black mountain. The bright lights on the front of it shone straight into his eyes. Kimble pushed the young guard out of the bus and jumped after him. They went over and over in the dark. The train crashed into the bus. Metal and glass flew everywhere. Red and yellow fire shot up into the black sky through the tall trees. The train came off the line and stopped. Kimble stood up. He still had the guard's keys in one hand. He threw them away. He had a bad cut on one leg, but he knew one thing. He wanted to find the man with one arm, Helen's killer. He moved away into the night as quickly as he could. Chapter 4. The Search Begins. Detective Samuel Gerard looked at the train and the two halves of the bus. There were lights everywhere, a lot of police and a lot of reporters. Too many people. He didn't like it. "Newman," Gerard said. "Yes, sir?" Newman was a tall young man, new to the police, and he wanted to do all the exciting things. But Gerard gave him all the dirty jobs instead. "Get down there," Gerard said, "where the train hit the bus, and look round carefully." "Yes, sir." "Poole," Gerard said, "you come with me." Poole was a black woman, very strong, with hard eyes. They walked across to some television lights. The old prison guard from the bus was there. He was sitting on the ground and speaking to the police and reporters. "The prisoners are dead," the guard said. "I shot Copeland and Kimble died in that bus. Look at it." "Did you see Kimble die?" Gerard asked him. No, I didn't, but—" "Then how do you know he's dead?" Gerard asked. Suddenly, Newman ran up. "Sir, I found these by the railway line." He gave Gerard the keys to the bus. "They were near the bus," Newman said. "Why were these keys by the line?" Gerard asked the older guard angrily. I gave them to Kimble. the guard said. And he got out of the bus, didn't he? Gerard told him. Kimble's alive, Gerard shouted to all the policemen. Search every building and road in 10 kilometers from here. Go. Gerard went back to his car and looked at the police photograph of Kimble. A rich man, intelligent, and there was something in his eyes. They were sad. Why did you kill your wife, Kimble? Gerard asked the photo. You had everything. But I'll catch you. You'll never kill again, my friend. Kimble arrived at the hospital in the early morning. He went in through a back door and found a room. A patient was in the bed. Hello? Kimble asked. But the man didn't move or speak. Kimble went into the bathroom and cleaned the cut on his leg. Then he washed and shaved. He put on some of the man's clothes. There was some money in the trousers and the man's glasses. He found a white doctor's coat, and he put that on too and walked out of the hospital. At the door, Kimble stopped to help some men to carry a patient into the hospital from an ambulance. We've just found him, doctor, one of the men said. He was under that train. Is he okay? It was the young guard. The man opened his eyes and looked up at Kimble. He tried to speak. That's... This man's very ill, Kimble said quickly. Take him to the accident department. Go now. Run. The men carried the young guard away quickly. Kimble took the ambulance and drove away. Gerard was talking to Poole. Why do you think Kimble killed his wife? He asked. Was he angry? Did he want her money? Before she could answer, Newman ran up and said, Sir, that young guard saw Kimble at the hospital. What time? 9:30, sir, Newman said. 20 minutes ago? Then he's still somewhere near here. Let's go, Gerard shouted. Kimble drove fast for a long time. He saw the Tennessee River hundreds of meters below. The gray and white water looked very cold. He drove into a wide tunnel. It went through a mountain by the river. There was light at the end of the tunnel. But suddenly, Kimble saw a police helicopter and several police cars across the road behind it. Kimble stopped his ambulance in the tunnel. Stay in the ambulance, Kimble. Do not move, a policeman shouted. The tunnel was dark. Kimble got out of the ambulance quietly and tried to think. He looked back at the opening of the tunnel. More cars, more police. He looked round and then moved as quietly as an animal. There was water by his feet. He moved his hands over the sides of the tunnel and found an opening. It was a small side tunnel. He went in. Gerard and Poole came down the big tunnel and looked into the empty ambulance. Where is he, sir? Poole asked. Where's he gone? He's near, Gerard said. I can smell him. Poole, take a look down there along the tunnel. Gerard walked along slowly. He felt the sides of the tunnel. Then he found the opening to the side tunnel and went in. He had a light in one hand and his gun in the other. He ran along the small tunnel. But the floor was wet and he fell. His gun disappeared into the water. Gerard tried to stand, but suddenly a strong hand took his. And Gerard looked up into that sad face. Those sad eyes, Dr. Richard Kimble. I did not kill my wife, Kimble said. He had Gerard's gun. That's not my problem, Kimble. Now give me. Sir, Poole shouted in the dark. Are you there? For a second, Gerard turned. Kimble turned and ran to the end of the small tunnel, but he suddenly stopped. Hundreds of meters below, he saw the angry white water of the Tennessee River. Kimble, Gerard shouted, throw down the gun and come here. You can't get away. I want to live, Kimble thought, but I want to find Helen's killer too. He turned back to the river below, ready to jump. Kimble, no, Gerard shouted. You'll kill yourself. Stop. Kimble. But he jumped down into the cold, dangerous water far below. Chapter 5. Help for Richard. Now I know Kimble did it, Gerard told Poole. I saw it in his eyes, then the man jumped. A policeman came up to Gerard. We've searched the river, sir, he said. There's nothing. No body. Look again, Gerard said coldly. Oh, sir, there's nothing. The fish ate him. So find the fish, Gerard shouted. Kimble hit the river hard. He went under, down into the cold and dark, and the water pushed and pulled at him. He fought the water, and at last he came up to the top. He put his hand up to a tree and tried to get hold of it, but the river pulled him along too fast. After a long time, the river went slower, and Kimble was able to climb out. He lay on the side of the river and slept for a long time. Then he walked to the nearest town. In a shop, he stole some hair coloring. He went to the toilet of a garage, put the coloring on his hair, then he cut it very short. Outside there was a small bus with a family on holiday in it. The bus came from Chicago, he saw, and he quietly climbed onto the top. He wanted to go home. They arrived in Chicago early the next morning, and Kimble rang a friend, Walter Guthrie, from the train station. Richard, Guthrie said. What are you doing? Where are you? This is really dangerous, you know. I need money, Walter. I can't do that, Gary said. I have to think of my job, my family. Don't come to me or I'll get the police. Kimble put the phone down. In his office, Gerard listened to the call. He recorded the calls of all Kimble's friends and said, so he's alive, and he's in Chicago. He looked at Newman and Poole. Don't tell anybody. We'll get him. Kimble went to see Charlie Nichols next. He waited near Nichols's house for his car to arrive. Charlie, Kimble said, and Nichols stopped his car. Richard, so you didn't die, he said. I need some money, Charlie, Kimble said. Here. Nichols gave him all the money he had. I'll give you more. Have this too. Nichols gave him his coat. Thanks, Charlie, Kimble said. I must go. Call me, Richard. I'll always help. You know that, don't you? Nichols smiled. Chapter 6. Reports. After he spoke to Nichols, Kimble went to Cook County Hospital. He quickly found the department for patients with artificial limbs. Then he went to the cleaners' rooms. He found an open cupboard and took one of the cleaners' green coats with a name and hospital number on it. Then he left the hospital and went to a shop to buy some green trousers and some shoes. After that, he found a cheap room to stay in. A woman and her son lived in the house. The woman took Kimble's money without any questions. The room was at the bottom of the house. It was cold and dark, and Kimble couldn't see the street. He felt very tired, and he wanted to be ready for the next day, so he went to bed and slept. Gerard and Poole went to see Charlie Nichols in his office. "I saw Richard 2 days ago," Nichols said quickly. "What did he want, Dr. Nichols?" Gerard asked. He didn't like Nichols's face. It was too good-looking, too smooth. "Help," Nichols smiled. "I gave him some money in my coat." "Dr. Nichols," Gerard said angrily, "if you see Kimble again, tell him to come to me. That's the best help you can give him." "Never. I always catch them." "You know," Gerard said. "Always." When they were in the car, Gerard said to Poole, "Watch Nichols and tell me everything he does. Everywhere he goes. Okay?" The next evening, Kimble went to work at the hospital as a cleaner. He washed the floors and slowly moved nearer and nearer to the department for artificial limbs. "Where's Rudy?" Kimble turned and saw a young woman doctor. "Oh, Rudy's ill," Kimble said. "I'm doing his job tonight." The doctor went away. Kimble went into the offices. He wanted to read some reports and to learn about artificial limbs. "Rudy." Kimble turned quickly and saw a woman. She had an artificial arm in her hand. "Oh, sorry," she said. "I thought you were Rudy." "No, I'm cleaning tonight. I'll come back." "Oh, it's okay. I'm going to be here all night." "I must finish this arm," she said. She went to her desk and Kimble went into a small room to get the reports. He took some of them and put them under his shirt. "What are you doing in here?" It was the woman again. They told me to clean the windows." "Oh, okay. Do you want some coffee? I made a lot." She smiled. "No, thanks," Kimble said. "I have to go." In the elevator, he saw the young woman doctor again. He read her name on her white coat. Dr. Eastman. She wanted to be friendly and said, "How are you? Are you going home now?" "Yeah," he said. He didn't look at her. It was too dangerous, but he wanted to. He needed a friend. Back in his cold room, Kimble read all the reports and learned about artificial limbs. He wanted to know what to look for on the computer. Chapter 7. Information. I must get into the computer room, Kimble thought. Look at the reports, and finish tonight, or somebody will see my face and know I'm here. When he arrived at the hospital that evening, Kimble saw a lot of police and doctors, and some new patients were coming in after an accident. Dr. Eastman was there. She spoke to him. "This is bad. A bus came off the road. Take this boy up to a bed on the 3rd floor now, will you please?" Kimble went to the elevator. The boy looked dangerously ill, so Kimble carefully touched his sides and his head. He decided that the boy needed an operation immediately. He wrote some information for the doctors on the boy's report, then took him straight to the operating theaters on the 4th floor of the hospital. From the 4th floor, Kimble went quickly to the computer room in the artificial limbs department. He needed to describe Helen's killer, so he put into the computer, "Man, 35 to 40 years, white, right arm." The computer answered, "Number of people 75. 75. Kimble said, "I must give it more information." He put in, "Home, Chicago." The computer answered, "Number of people 21. I don't have time to find 21 people, Kimble thought. What can I do? Then he remembered, I broke the top of the man's arm. Perhaps he got a new one here. He put into computer, broken arms, January 21st to February 1st. The computer answered, number of people 5. Kimble wrote the 5 names on a list and left the computer room. Outside, Dr. Eastman stopped him and said, I went to see that boy, but he wasn't on the 3rd floor. You took him straight to the operating theater's 4th floor, didn't you? Why? How did you know he needed an operation? You told me, Kimble said. No, I did not, she said. Stay here. I'm going to get the police. But Kimble pushed past her and ran for the door. Gerard sat at home and thought about Kimble. He came back to Chicago to find the man with one arm. Why? The phone rang. It was Poole. We found where Kimble's living. We brought a young man into the station tonight. He sells drugs. He saw Kimble's photo and he says Kimble lives in his house. Right? I'll be there, Gerard said. He went to the young man's house and looked round the small room. He saw the reports from the artificial limbs department at Cook County Hospital. I'll get you soon, Kimble, he thought. When Kimble came home, he saw the police car in front of the house. He turned and walked quickly away into the darkness. He stayed in a cheap hotel that night. Then in the morning, he started to phone the 5 men on his list. The first 3 were not the man that he wanted. Soon he had only 2 names, Clive Driscoll and Frederick Sykes. Kimble rang Driscoll's number. His brother answered. Clive's in prison, he said. He took some money from a supermarket, shot a man too. I'm a friend of his, Kimble said. Where is Clive? I'll go and see him. The prison near the train station, the man said. He's waiting for his trial. Kimble put down the phone. He wanted to visit Clive Driscoll, but it was dangerous to go back to that prison. He was in there before his trial, too. Perhaps one of the guards will remember me, he thought. But I've got to go. Chapter 8. Running Again. In the computer room at Cook County Hospital, Gerard got the names of the 21 men in Chicago with artificial right arms. Talk to all of them, he told Newman and Poole. I'm right, he thought. Kimble is looking for the man with one arm. But does he want to kill him or to bring him into me? I must find Kimble first. Kimble stood in front of the prison near the train station. It was a gray, ugly building. I don't want to go back in there, he thought. But perhaps Driscoll is the right man. Inside he went to the elevator and the door opened. It was full of policemen. He got in and tried not to look at them. On the 5th floor he got out and went to the visitors' room. He thought about the night of Helen's killing, about the man's dark eyes, his cold, hard arm. Was it him here, now? Visitor for Driscoll, table 7, a policeman said. Kimble sat at table 7 and waited with his eyes down. Who are you? A man said. Driscoll. Kimble looked up and saw a small, black man. The wrong man. He stood up quickly and walked towards the stairs. He had to get out of the building. At the same time, Gerard, Newman, and Poole walked into the prison to talk to Driscoll. Newman and Poole took the elevator. Gerard went up the stairs. A man ran past him down the stairs. Gerard didn't see his face, but he knew immediately. Kimble, he shouted. Stop. But Kimble didn't stop. He started to run, then went through a door. Gerard found a policeman and told him to close all the doors out of the prison. Kimble ran fast for the front doors. The front doors started to close. Behind him, Gerard took out his gun and shouted, Stop! Kimble jumped through the front doors, but they closed on his foot. Gerard ran for Kimble, his gun ready, and the words went through his head. Not my problem. Kimble pulled his foot hard. He couldn't move. He pulled again, his foot came free, and the doors closed. Gerard fired his gun 7 times, but the strong glass in the front doors stopped the bullets. Kimble turned and disappeared into the crowds and the traffic. He went across Chicago to Frederick Sykes's flat. There was a police car in front of the building. So Gerard does think there was a man with one arm, Kimble thought. He went to the back of the building and climbed the stairs to Sykes's flat. He looked in through the window. The flat was dark, so he broke the glass and went in. Inside the flat, Kimble saw some photographs of Sykes's children. He picked up a photograph of a man about 35, a policeman. He looked at the man's face. The face of Helen's killer. Kimble quickly searched the flat. He found an artificial arm, a right arm with a new top, and some more photographs. These photographs showed Sykes on holiday by the sea. In one photograph, Sykes was standing next to another man. Kimble looked carefully. He thought he knew the other man's face too. After a second or two, he said, It's Lentz, Alex Lentz. That doctor at Devlin MacGregor. In a cupboard, Kimble found some papers about Sykes's job. He was a guard at the Devlin MacGregor building in Chicago. Now he understood everything. Lentz and the other people at Devlin MacGregor wanted Kimble to die because he knew that RDU-90 damaged people's livers. He was still alive only because he went back to the hospital that night, and Helen died instead of him. For the 1000th time, Kimble wanted to die too. But then he thought, no, it's better to live and catch this man. He picked up the phone and rang Gerard. Kimble here, he said. Everybody in Gerard's office jumped. Poole immediately started to search for the number that he was calling from. Are you coming in, Kimble? Gerard asked. Poole already had the first two numbers. I didn't kill my wife, Kimble said. Not my problem, Gerard said. Where are you? 4 numbers now. Kimble was in the south of the city. 15 seconds, Poole said quietly. I must find some more things first, Kimble said. Gerard looked at Poole. He started to speak slowly. Now, listen to me, Kimble. I'm going to... Kimble. Gerard said. He put the phone down. Did you get the number? He asked Poole. Where is he? Sykes' flat, she said. We have a car there now. Chapter 9. Finding the right answers. Gerard, Newman, and Poole walked into Sykes' flat and looked round. Then Sykes came in. What's this? He said. Who are you? He was a very big man with dark hair. He was angry. Police, Mr. Sykes, Gerard said. A man called Richard Kimble was here today. He called me on your phone. I don't know Richard Kimble, Sykes said quickly. Oh, yes you do, Gerard thought. Oh, I remember, Sykes said. He's that doctor, isn't he? The police questioned me when his wife died, because I've got one arm. Look, I wasn't in town that night. Why did Kimble want to look at these, Mr. Sykes? Gerard asked. He showed him the holiday photographs. I don't know, Sykes said. Ask him. They left the flat. Watch him, Gerard told Poole. Kimble left Sykes' flat and took a bus. He thought about Sykes, Lentz, and Devlin MacGregor. He remembered the reports from Lentz on those 3 patients' livers. Lentz was lying, he thought. He knew those livers were damaged. Devlin MacGregor can make lots of money from RDU-90, but I knew the drug was dangerous, so they wanted to kill me. Lentz paid Sykes to do it, he thought. Kimble phoned Charlie Nichols. Charlie, I've found Helen's killer. Lentz paid a man to kill me because I knew RDU-90 was dangerous. Where is Lentz? I must find him. Nichols did not say anything for a minute. I'm sorry, Richard. Lentz is dead. He had a car accident last year. Kimble thought, how can I catch Sykes now? Then he remembered. I sent a piece of those 3 livers to Kath Walland. She's a very good doctor, and I wanted her to look at the livers too. Perhaps she still has the pieces. I'll go and see her. In his office, Gerard spoke to Poole. We're going to see Nichols. I think he helped Kimble to find his wife's killer. And now I know that was Sykes. Where's Newman? Here, sir, Newman said. Gerard gave him the photo of Sykes on holiday with the other man. I want this other man's name. And find the phone reports for Kimble and Sykes for the past 2 years. Did they talk on the phone? Sykes put a gun in his jacket. Lentz gave me some money to kill Kimble that night, he thought. But Kimble got away and I killed the woman. Too bad. Sykes drank some whiskey. Kimble went to prison, and that was okay. But now he's out and he's trying to get me. Sykes drank some more whiskey. So now I have to finish the job. he left the flat. Chapter 10. Lies. Kimble went into the Chicago Memorial Hospital by a back door and spoke to an old friend, Mr. Roosevelt. He worked in the reports department and had all the papers on RDU 90 ready for Kimble. Then Kimble went to see Kath Walland. "Richard," she said, smiling, "it's you." "Kath," he said, "please help me." In his office, Newman looked at the photograph of Sykes and the other man. He wanted to do a good job for Gerard. He looked carefully at the man's shirt and read CMH. Newman thought, C for Chicago and H for hospital. Yeah, Chicago M Hospital. M for Memorial, Kimble's hospital. He left the office and went straight to the hospital. Gerard and Poole spoke to Nichols at the Chicago Hilton Hotel. He was at a big meeting for Devlin McGregor. Gerard showed Nichols the photograph. "Do you know these men, Doctor?" Gerard asked. "One of them is Frederick Sykes. He works at Devlin McGregor." Nichols looked carefully at the photograph of Sykes and Lentz. "I'm sorry," he said. "I don't know either of them." In Kath Walland's office, Kimble looked at the pieces of the 3 livers. "You see," he said, "all these livers are damaged because the patients took RDU 90. But here, in Lentz's report, he says that these patients all had healthy livers." Kath looked at the livers too. "Richard," she said, "all of these livers have von Meyenberg's complex. It's very unusual for 3 patients to have it at the same time. Lentz used the same liver for all his reports. Now you can tell the police that Lentz was lying about the livers and wanted to kill you because you realized that RDU 90 was dangerous." Kimble read lots of other reports about livers and RDU 90. "Kath," he asked, "when did Lentz die? Which month?" "Oh," she said, "August, last year." "Why?" "There are reports here from October, November, and December, all with Lentz's name on," Kimble said. He found the list of the names of the people who had money in Devlin McGregor. One of them was Dr. Charles Nichols. Newman phoned Gerard from the hospital and told him the name of the man in the photograph, Alex Lentz. "And, sir," Newman said, "Kimble was here an hour ago and took some reports about RDU 90. A man here, Roosevelt, gave me some more information." Kimble and Nichols both worked with Lentz. "Nichols," Gerard said. "So he did know Lentz." "Good work," Gerard told Newman. "Now get me those phone reports." Kimble got on a train. He tried to think, to understand, but he didn't really want to. "Charlie Nichols was my friend, but he tried to kill me." No, Kimble thought. "I must find him. But what can I do then? Charlie doesn't know Sykes. He saw a man with a newspaper. It said Kimble in Chicago on the front page, and his photograph was there too." The man looked across at Kimble. Then he stood up quickly and went to find a train guard. Kimble counted the seconds until the next station. How much longer? Suddenly somebody was standing in front of him. He had a gun. Sykes. Kimble stood up and at the same time a train guard opened the door and came towards them. "Hands up, Kimble," he said. "Sir, you can put that gun down." "No, sir," Sykes said. He turned and fired 4 bullets into the guard. People started to scream. The driver heard the noise and stopped the train. Everybody fell to the floor. Sykes dropped his gun, and it fell near the dead policeman. Sykes and Kimble both jumped for it, but Kimble got it first. He hit Sykes hard. Then he held the gun in his face. "Do it, Kimble," Sykes said and laughed. "Do it," he laughed again. "You can't. You're too weak." Kimble wanted to kill him then, to shoot Sykes in the head, to use the gun that killed Helen. "No," he thought. "I won't kill him. I'll be as bad as Sykes." He hit Sykes hard with the gun, and Sykes fell to the floor. Then Kimble ran out of the train, the gun in his hand. Newman told Gerard about Kimble's phone calls. "I looked at all his calls for the last 2 years, he said. On the night of Mrs. Kimble's killing, Kimble called Sykes from his car phone at 7:30. "That's it," Gerard said. "Poole, bring Sykes in." "Sir," Newman said, "I thought Kimble didn't do it." Gerard looked at him. "That's not our problem," he said. But he understood Newman. Gerard was sorry to know about the phone call, too. He found Kimble's police report about Helen's killing and read it again. "I took a taxi to the hotel and arrived at 8:30. I gave Dr. Nichols my car that afternoon because his car was in the garage, gave me back my car keys at the hotel, and I drove my wife home in my car at about 10:30. Nichols made that call," Gerard thought. Poole ran into the office. "Sir, the police got Sykes in a train. There's a dead train guard, too?" Kimble ran off with a gun. "No," Gerard thought. "Now every policeman in Chicago will be after Kimble, and they'll shoot to kill." Chapter 11. Out of the Dark. Kimble took the elevator to the top of the Chicago Hilton, where Nichols was talking to the people from Devlin McGregor. He opened the doors to a big room and saw Nichols in front of a crowd of people. "Thank you all," Nichols said. His face went white. "Richard? You what, Charlie?" Kimble shouted. "You tried to kill me because I knew RDU-90 is dangerous, and you knew it too? Is that what you want to tell these people?" Suddenly, Nichols ran from the room. Kimble went after him. In front of a door, Nichols turned and hit Kimble hard. He fell. "I can kill you now, Richard. It's easy." On the floor, Kimble shouted, "For money, Charlie. Helen's dead. All for money. You were my friend." He jumped at Nichols, and they fell through a fire door onto the fire stairs outside the hotel. They saw the lights of police cars hundreds of meters below them. A police helicopter flew noisily above them, and its bright lights shone into Kimble's eyes. He couldn't see. He couldn't hear. Nichols ran down the stairs. Gerard and Poole came up to the top floor of the hotel. They saw a lot of people round the open fire door. "They went through there," a man shouted. Gerard ran out into the noise and lights of the helicopter. He saw a man with a gun inside it. Below him, Kimble and Nichols were fighting on the stairs. Suddenly, the man in the helicopter fired his gun. Gerard saw the two men fall off the stairs and onto the glass top of an elevator on the outside of the hotel. The helicopter lights moved over to Nichols and Kimble. Gerard saw them fighting on the elevator, two small black shapes far below. Then the top of the elevator broke, and Nichols and Kimble crashed into the dark through the falling glass. Gerard ran down the stairs inside the hotel. He met Poole. "Where did they go?" he shouted. "Did you see?" "Fifth floor," Poole shouted back. Gerard and Poole ran down to the fifth floor. They opened a door into a dark, wet room. Above them, big bags of dirty washing moved slowly along strong metal lines to two washing machines. Each machine was 10 meters long and full of hot water. Gerard told Poole to go quietly along under one line. He walked between them. "Kimble, are you there?" he shouted. "I know about Sykes and about Nichols. I know Nichols had your car and he phoned Sykes on the night your wife died. It's okay. Come out, now." Kimble listened to Gerard. He wanted to stop running. He moved nearer to the sound of Gerard's voice. Poole walked under a line of bags. She turned quickly when one of the bags came at her from behind. She jumped away, then held her gun in front of her and tried to see Kimble in the dark and wet. She heard Gerard shouting and stopped to listen. Another bag hit her hard on the head, and she fell to the floor. Charlie Nichols walked silently up behind her, took her gun, then moved back into a dark corner. Kimble found Poole on the floor, and he knew that Nichols was near. He walked carefully along the side of the washing machine and looked round. Kimble saw a man between the two machines. He was walking towards him. It was dark, and the man had a gun. Was it Gerard? Was it Charlie? Which man wanted to kill him? He didn't move, didn't make a sound. The man came nearer, holding the gun out in front of him. He spoke. "Kimble?" It was Gerard. Then Nichols came fast at Gerard out of the dark. He had Poole's gun in his hand. Kimble pushed one of the big bags at Nichols. It hit him in the face, and he fell hard. His gun flew away into the darkness. Gerard turned and saw Kimble. Gerard's gun came up. Kimble looked into his cold, hard eyes. He didn't move. He looked at the gun. Gerard smiled. "It's all finished, Kimble. It's okay now. I know Sykes killed your wife, and I know Nichols paid him. Come with me." Kimble looked down at Nichols. He felt his head carefully. "No blood. He's okay," he told Gerard. "And I found Poole. She's okay too." "We'll go now, Dr. Kimble," Gerard said. "You know, you have good hands." "A doctor must have good hands." Kimble smiled. It was all finished. Now he could start to live again.